trying to use one of these other ones to replace that with. So anyway, let's go further. The notion that these elitists merely want to slow population growth in order to improve health is a complete misnomer. Slowing the growth of the world's population while also improving its health are two irreconcilable concepts to the elite. Stabilizing world population is a natural byproduct of higher living standards, as been proven by the stabilization of the population in the West. Elitists like David Rockefeller have no interest in slowing the growth of world population by natural methods. Their agenda is firmly rooted in the pseudoscience of eugenics, which is all about culling or killing the surplus population via draconian methods. Now, where do we see one of the most obvious examples of this in the last 100 years? Well, Hitler. Hitler had eugenicists. He had, the whole 9 yards. He was trying to build what they call the fifth root race, which was the perfect Aryan man, the blonde-haired, blue-eyed Nordic man that would get us more back to what they termed as our Atlantean roots when we were as gods. Isn't that what it always comes back to? The whole Garden of Eden thing where the serpent deceived Eve by saying, "You shall be as gods." Well, it's the same deal, just a different packaging. But that's what Hitler was obsessed with, and that was his justification for killing these other races that they deemed inferior, the Jews being the most inferior. And how did they justify that also? Well, they justified it through Darwinism, because Darwinism taught that the Jews and the black races and these types of things were more closest to the apes. In other words, in the evolutionary process, the Jews and the apes were the most inferior. They were the ones lagging behind in that whole evolutionary process. So they have to be wiped out because they haven't caught up, and it's going to be millions of years before they catch up, and they got to be wiped out. And this was the very reason that how they used to justify killing all those people. And so Darwinism is incredibly dangerous stuff because of that reason, because of the justification people can arrive at. Let's go further here. David Rockefeller's legacy is not derived from a well-meaning philanthropic urge to improve the health in third world countries. It is born out of a Malthusian drive to eliminate the poor and those deemed racially inferior, using the justification of social Darwinism. Again, all these things work hand in glove together that these occultists are using. As is documented in the Alex Jones film Endgame, Rockefeller's father, John D. Rockefeller, exported eugenics to Germany from its origins in Britain by bankrolling the Kaiser Wilhelm Institute, which later would form the central pillar of the Third Reich's ideology of the Nazi super race. After the fall of the Nazis, top German eugenicists were protected by the Allies as the victorious parties fought over who would enjoy their expertise in the post-World War. Isn't that kind of sick? You would think that we would have went in there and imprisoned all these guys that were taking these, like in Auschwitz, they would take people and do all these horrific experiments on them. They would take twins and they would do all these horrific experiments on them. These sick, twisted, perverted. You can't even imagine the debauchery of these top eugenicist doctors, devils in white lab coats, that they were doing to all these people in these concentration camps. No. We didn't imprison them. We didn't kill them for their crimes against humanity. No, we fought over them. We fought over them. That's what we did. And through Project Paperclip, it's well known, look it up on the internet, we got them out of there. We got them out of Germany, and they suffered, for the most part, they came over to America and to different parts of the world, and we took them, we changed their names, and some of them went up into Canada and worked for a while, and some of them came to the United States, and we took the rocket scientists and these eugenicists, and we brought them over here so we could have their expertise. I mean, that's pretty satanic there. As Dr. Len Horowitz writes, in the 1950s, the Rockefellers reorganized the U.S. eugenics movement in their own family offices with spin-off population control and abortion groups. The Eugenics Society changed its name to the Society for the Study of Social Biology, its current name. The Rockefeller Foundation had long financed the eugenics movement in England, apparently repaying Britain for the fact that British capital and an Englishman partner had started old John D. Rockefeller out of his oil trust. In the 1960s, the Eugenics Society in England adopted what they call crypto-eugenics, stating in their official reports that they would do eugenics through means and instruments not labeled as eugenics. So in other words, they were trying to go underground with it. With support of the Rockefellers, the Eugenics Society of England set up a subcommittee called the International Planned Parenthood Federation, which for 12 years had no other address than the Eugenics Society, meaning they were all together. It's all about population reduction and control. This then is the private international apparatus which has been set up worldwide for a global Holocaust under the United Nations flag. Again, here we go with the UN. And here we go with their ties to Planned Parenthood as well. It's nothing more than their organizations that they've set up to kill us all. Basically is all it is. Now, that's just a little bit of that report. It's a real long report. If you want to get the full history of what we just started talking about, I give you the link. You can click on it, and it'll load your boat regarding that subject. Now, having said that, and having said a lot of these things in previous studies, let's get it right into some modern-day things that they're doing that I wasn't even fully aware of to cull the population.